Let's talk about a different kind of disparity. How about the overrepresentation of blacks in our criminal justice system? Now, does that all trace back to racism? I would say a large part of it traces back to classism. If you're poor in this country, you can't afford a lawyer. And without a lawyer, you're going to have to plea bargain. It's as simple as that. I'm not boasting about it, but I have been in the criminal justice system many times. I've been arrested many times, many times. And I was also involved, like I just came out of a case with Optimum. I sued the Optimum a telephone company. It was a long case. It was 5 visits to the court, 7 visits to the court. The trial went on for quite a long time, kind of wiped me out. You can't do anything without a lawyer. I did pro se. Pro se means without a lawyer. It happens by some stroke of luck. There is a God. I had a decent judge. But in general, when you're in a criminal case, you cannot utter a word, not one word. You know that thing they say, you have your right to defend yourself? Forget it. BS, complete nonsense. The judge will not even look at you. The judge will not. You're a spectral presence. You can't say one word in court. Everything has to be done through the interlocutor, your lawyer. Yes, by our wonderful system, you get a public defender. You know how long on average you talk to your public defender before the trial? On average, about 3 minutes. The public defender asks you your name, asks you your age, asks you, can you summarize in one sentence why you're in here? You give your explanation, that's it. And then they become your lawyer. So that's all a long way of saying, yes, of course, African Americans are overrepresented in our criminal justice system because they're overrepresented among the poor. And if you're poor, you can't afford a lawyer. Frankly, even if you're middle class, you can't afford a lawyer. A lawyer is $400, $500 an hour. With all due respect, Alex, unless you've gone through the criminal justice system, you have no idea what this is like. That alone is grounds for revolution. I mean it. I'm dead serious about that. Do you know if you go into a court now, okay, for whatever crime, whatever you committed, you have to bring the lawyer because he can't talk to a judge, okay? The first 3 to 5 times, the judge, you go in because you were arrested, you go in, the judge turns to the district attorney, the people it's called, the people, turns to the people and says, quote, people, are you ready? People always says, no, not ready. And then the judge says, pick a date. Pick a date means pick a date for the next meeting, the next court appearance. So you're wondering, what does this have to do with anything? Well, here, I'll tell you exactly what it has to do with. Ready for this? You come to court with a lawyer. It takes about 3 hours before your case is called. What does your lawyer do for those 3 hours? He or she's on their iPhone answering email. Okay, they're just sitting there answering email. Okay, you know what you're doing? You're counting $400, $800, $1,200. Then you have to count for them taking the transportation to court and coming to court. Okay, so that's about $1,500. All right, and you know what that's for? That's for not ready, pick a date. So a court gets the DA gets 3 to 5 of those, okay? So you're $10,000 in the hole before anything is even heard. Now, we live in a society where we have telephones, we have email, we have iPhones, we have 10,000 kinds of communication, right? If the people are not ready, why didn't they just email you in the morning they're not ready, and then you won't have to hire a lawyer to come with you to court? Because the whole point of this disgusting, disgusting criminal justice system is to force you into a plea bargain. Because you're $10,000 in the hole after the first adjournment, $20,000 in the hole after the second adjournment, $30,000 in the hole after the third adjournment, and you could be $50,000 in the hole before you open your mouth. That's how our system works. It is so disgusting. It is so wretched. One of my lawyers, after my fourth adjournment, it was out in Nassau County. So it took me 2.5 hours to get there. One of my lawyers, he sees a frown on my face when I'm walking out, a very angry frown, by the way. And he says to me, "What are you angry about?" I'm thinking to myself, yeah, what am I angry about? He just made $5,000. And I just got another adjournment. What am I angry about? What am I angry about? There goes 1/3 of my yearly salary. What am I angry about? You know? So African Americans, simply by virtue of being poor, they're going to be overrepresented in the criminal justice system. So we should forget about the class aspect to it. It's not because you're black, it's because you're poor. But then on top of that, the racism, of course. I'm not going to deny that's stupid. Of course, there's going to be all this prejudging, prejudice, prejudging by the judge and eventually the jury about any person taken before the court, anybody who's been arrested. Yeah, I recognize that. So there is a racial element and there is a class element to the disproportion in the criminal justice system. I'm just saying it's not all about racism. Anybody who's gone through that system who doesn't have the money is going to get shafted. Period. Full stop.